it is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up. All right. Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, October 7th, 2019. It is a rainy and dreary Monday in Pittsburgh, but that means we have exactly 84 days left to make the very best of what has been an absolutely incredible year for me. I hope it has been for you as well. This morning's topic, guys, is one that I think hopefully when you guys read the title, if you read the title before you popped in on this live, you got a good look at something that everybody can relate to, and that is how to deal with stress and adversity in your life. And so before we get started here, guys, please share this out, like, tag, comment some people. Make sure if you guys are listening to the podcast that you take a minute to give us a review over there on iTunes. It is super easy to do. It's also super easy to share those episodes with other people. So you just copy the link, send it through social media, post it on social media, send it via text message, etc. But I appreciate you guys helping me grow this audience and grow this show. It means a lot to me, and we are making an impact. You know, I get messages on a regular basis that the topics that we talk about are really helpful. And so I appreciate you guys being willing to share this to your own pages and introduce this message to your own friends and family. It means the world to me. And you guys can trust that I will always do my best, my very best, to deliver great messages that can help as many people as possible and hopefully help a lot of people that you know as well. So let's get into the topic here. So how to deal with stress and adversity. You know, this time of year in our business, I saw a couple people on here already that are in our business. And, you know, as you start to see these dreary days and these, you know, dropping temperatures, it just means that, you know, the end of our season is near. And so that means that, you know, you've got a lot less time than you had a few months ago to get some things done. There's a big buildup at the end of the season where there's a lot of things going on and you got a lot of pressure to deliver. And everybody's life has those moments, right? I use that example because it's kind of what we're going through right now. Most of these topics that I talk about are not just to help you guys, but also to help me. And sometimes it's to, you know, get things off my chest, talk about what I'm going through, and it helps me be able to process these things by planning to talk about these topics. And so this is a time right now where it's very stressful for us. There's some adversity. There's some outside influences that you know, try to get you off track. And so I got some tips for you guys, some actual tactical tips of how, you know, I have learned over the years to deal with these kinds of things to just keep you as on track as you can, you know. And I think it's important first and foremost to realize that, you know, when you go through these moments of, you know, adversity, it is normal to feel a little bit off, you know, to not be quite yourself. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to overcome those to get yourself back on track to where you need to be, to where you are the best version of yourself, where you're thriving and feeling good and upbeat and feeling like yourself again, right? So before I jump into the actual tactical tips, I just want to say good morning to everybody. Patricia, Mike, AJ, Dean, Judd, Trudy, Trisha, Lydia, my wife, Jeff Stewart. What's happening, brother? Jeff Stewart, man, I worked with that guy years ago. Seems like a lifetime ago, but good to see you on here, brother. Appreciate you tuning in, man, and hopefully you enjoy the content this morning. So I've got a couple of tips, and these are in no particular order. I didn't take time to kind of prioritize them. I think that they're all useful, and so they all might be useful to all of you in different ways, in different order, in different, you know, order of importance. But the first one is, you know, make sure that you fill your schedule. These times where you feel stressed, a lot of people let that stress or adversity, it stalls them out, right? So it stalls them out, and they start to really get wrapped around the axle on whatever it is that they're going through. And so it's really important for you to have a full schedule every single day that doesn't allow you much time to think about what you're going through, right? I'm gonna kind of counteract that in a second and tell you how to fill your schedule, but it's really important for you guys to look at your schedule. And if you're typically working, from 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 or 7 to 4, whatever that looks like, make sure that you're filling your schedule, that you've got a plan of how you're going to stay busy all day, because as you allow your mind to wander, it just goes to places that you don't need it to go. And so the second tip that I have, and it's related to the scheduling part, is you got to slow down to speed up. We talked a lot about this up in Rochester, actually, where Dean is, and he's talking about how this topic is perfect for him right now. We've hit some weather, we've hit some bad scenarios, some unfortunate circumstances. And, but at the end of the day, we have taken a minute to step back, collect ourselves, and create a new plan before we move forward. And so what I have written down here is you have to slow down. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. You have to plan before you start. And the more adversity you face, the more you feel yourself kind of in that place that you don't want to be, the more important it is for you to create a plan to route yourself out of those situations. And so taking the time to slow down will ultimately speed you up in the end. And so that's what that means. Sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. The third bullet point that I have, and it's real simple, but you got to remind yourself of this. The only way, guys, to get to the other side of it is to work your way out of it. It is to take action, to be active, to take the time to plan, and then consistently take the action every day to get on the other side of what's going on there. And that is a really important thing to recognize, guys, because I see, when people on our team are going through some things, they're not feeling right, they're going through some adversity, something doesn't go our way, and they feel responsible for that. They tend to just stall out and not be as productive. And that's normal for people to feel that way. But the critical thing is to recognize that and have the ability to work your way out of it. Just keep going, right? Don't allow yourself to stop. They say if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, right? But regardless of what the scenario is, you never want to see yourself get stalled out where, your activity, your levels of activity, what you're supposed to be doing every day is affected by this adversity, by these things that happen in your life that cause you stress, that cause you anxiety. I talk to a lot of people that, use the word anxiety. And I think that, you have to be careful of, reminding yourself that you're anxious. And the way that you do that is by working, by creating activity, having a full schedule, and then focusing on working your way out of that. The next one is a really important one, and it's advice that I need to take myself more often. And, it is getting outside. Just simply getting outside. And I don't care, guys, if it's raining, cold, if it's snowing outside, coming soon here. The difference between being, what I will refer to in this case is trapped in a room or in a house or in an office feeling anxious, and being outside is a significant difference. I do outdoor workouts. So, I go on these long runs and I'm outside a lot, and I can't even describe to you guys the feeling that you get when you're just outside. You feel free. You feel like everything's kind of lifting off your shoulders. You feel just 100 times better than being trapped inside. So as you're working, as you're focusing on working your way out of these problems, make sure that you take the time to get outside and, just go for a walk, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it takes. Go for a walk, go for a run, go to a local park, take your dog for a walk if you have one, whatever it is, but get outside. Get out of your normal surroundings and get outside and take it all in while you're out there. Look around, appreciate the world around you. It's one of the things that I mentioned when I first did 75 Hard and I did the testimonial video for it. That's one of the main things that stood out to me with 75 Hard, and it's been something that I've changed in my life ever since, was just spending more time outside. I'm in a business here where I get trapped in front of a desk a lot, and you guys probably are too. And so when you're inside and you have these moments of adversity and stress and anxiety, you need to just get outside, and that will help you release that and get back to feeling normal. The next one is probably, if I were to rate these things on a list, it's probably the most important step of all of it, and that is to be grateful for what you have. If you really put it in perspective, the title of this show is Morning Perspective, the Perspective Podcast. If you really put your life in perspective, here's what you will find, is that there are people in the world that would be grateful to have the problems that you are facing. And you should always remember that and never forget it, because the reality is, guys, the more grateful you are for what you have, the faster these issues will go away. The faster these challenges and adversities and the stress will go away. When this happens to me, I look around my house and I see these 3 little people running around here that I prayed for my entire life. I look at my wife that I searched for high and low for a majority of my existence on this planet and found. And so when I just look at those things, the adversity, any adversity that I am facing tends to fade off, right? It puts it all in perspective. And there's far beyond that I am grateful for in my life, but that's the first place that I always go, is my family, my wife and kids. And when I look around and I face these problems and I get wrapped up in those problems for a split second, and then I look up and I see, how far I have come, and I see the blessings that I have, and I don't get focused anymore on the challenges. Judd, let me know if that's better, man. Hopefully it is. I don't get focused on those challenges anymore. I get focused on the things that I'm grateful for. And by the way, those are things that, at the end of the day, once you become grateful, you have no problems getting over the adversities and stress in your life, because you are appreciative for what you have. And by the way, when you're appreciative for what you have, the universe, God, will gift you more. So it all starts with that. The next bullet point that I have here is realize that everything will change in time. Everything. It doesn't matter how bad it is, how much adversity you're facing, how bad the situation is that you are in, that will change in time. The key to that is your ability to be able to speed up that process by having the right plan, by creating enough activity that gets you through whatever it is that you're going through. The right plan, enough work and activity, will speed up the amount of time that it takes to get through any storm in your life. And that is something that people overlook, right? It's in that moment where you think, man, this is terrible. This is really tough. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. This is really overwhelming. I've had friends go through, crazy, legal battles, issues with major financial issues, just big stuff. I was just talking to somebody yesterday who had mentioned, something about an issue that a person had financially. with taxes that I had no idea about. And I thought to myself, wow, man, that's kind of a big deal. But guess what? That person's living an incredible life today. So they went through that storm. They made it to the other side. And lo and behold, they're just fine. And so I think that we get stuck in that moment. Our engine stalls because of how scary it is, because of the adversity, because of what everybody else tells us about how bad this is, right? And we don't use our ability to speed that up by working the right plan and creating enough activity to speed it up and get to the other side of it. So, and then last but not least, and this ties in, I've kind of mentioned it a little bit, but guys, just don't overthink it. The storms that come in life, the adversity that hits you as you're working through this thing we call life, it's normal, guys. Everybody goes through these moments. And by the way, the bigger that you're trying to grow, and everybody that watches this show is trying to multiply what they're doing in their life, right? Whether they're trying to, do bigger things, open a business, grow their own career, live a happier life with their family. They're trying to multiply the results that they're getting. That's why you guys tune in here, right? And the reality is that as you're trying to multiply things, as you're trying to grow a business, Judd and I are planning this retreat. There's going to be things that push against you. And that is part of life. That is part of the world that we live in. It's part of the experiences that we have that make us feel human. Those challenges, those tough moments are what make the victory in the end that much sweeter. And so you have to remember that as you're going through those things, don't overthink it, guys. Don't think that it's only happening to you. Why me? All the things that creep into our brains. Don't think those things. Don't overthink anything. Just create a plan and execute. Fill your schedule. Work the plan. Work your way out of it. Take some time to yourself to get outside and appreciate the world that you live in. Remember that others would be grateful to have the problems that you have. Be grateful for what you already do have. Look around you at the gifts in your life. Write them down. If you find yourself in a tough place where you feel like your engine's stalled, start by writing down 50 things that you're grateful for in your life. And I guarantee you you could probably do 100 if you try. So start by writing those down. Realize that everything will change in time and you have the ability to speed that up with the right plan. Sometimes you got to slow down to speed up. And last but not least, guys, again, just don't overthink it. Just stay on your routine. Create some rhythm. Tap into the energies that are around you that are positive, the people, your circle, your friends, your family, your children. For me, when I'm going through something tough, it's either my wife, one of my kids. I say, come over here and give me a hug. Come over here and give Daddy a hug. That 1 second, that 5 seconds of just connecting with them and giving them some love, them giving me some love, erases all of that. And it makes you realize what's truly important in life. And it's certainly not these moments of adversity. And so I will leave you guys with that. It's a topic that everybody experiences at some point in the year. This is it. This is that time of year for us. And, by the way, guys, with what we've got going on, between the payment group, Top Contractor School, trying to, we're launching the website, the video, all these things for the retreat that we're having down in Anguilla this week. Not the retreat is not this week, but we're launching the website and video this week. There's a lot going on, right? And then there's always outside forces trying to chirp at you, trying to knock you off course. And the reality is, guys, it's just normal. It's part of the process of trying to get where you're going. And there's always going to be people that don't want you to get there. There's always going to be adversities that you face along the way because the universe wants you to work for it. The universe wants you to feel that excitement when you overcome it, when you actually achieve what you set out to achieve. It's going to be that much more exciting. So I would tell you guys just to embrace it, take it for what it is, and realize that stress and adversity and all of the things that come along with it, it's just part of the process, guys. It is just part of the process of getting where you want to go. And the bigger things you want to do, the more you're going to experience that. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't shared this out and you feel like somebody could benefit from it, please click the share button. Tag somebody in the comments here that you think might be going through a stressful time. I promise you these tips will help them get out of it. I've given these tips to a lot of people, and it works every time. It works every time, and a lot of people feel frozen in those moments of stress, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, and you could be the person that changes that for them just by sharing this message. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I will see you again tomorrow morning right here, same place, same time on Morning Perspective. Love you guys.